Health warning. Some of the content of the game in the fuck, I couldn't even. God damn, they're doing these things fast. This game supports an autosave feature. Please do not turn off the console when the icon above is on the screen. Think if you had a game that is basically like saving every goddamn second. God, that would be kind of annoying actually. Of course, English, because I cannot understand anything else other than Swedish, but some Spanish, but not that much. Yes! Hold on here, we're gonna check some stuff. Reader. Story mode. Turn this on to enable story mode in place of autoplay, allowing you to progress through the game automatically without having to press any buttons. The answers to questions, presentation of evidence, etc. are all handled on your behalf. Hell nah! Well, hell nah! I'm not gonna have that! Like, sure, I'm playing, like, I know people can say, like, oh, visual novels are basically just one button thing. And, like, I can agree with some games. I can definitely agree with some great games, but there are some games that basically have a game aspect. I'm not gonna have that taken away. What is this? Turn this on to enable cancellation during trial segments. After failing to present the correct evidence a few times during a cross-examination or similar segments, you will have an option to consult your partner for hints. This feature is only available in Didi and Suje, and it's not available in AJAA, which is basically the first one. Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney, I think, and the other one is Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice. I don't know how I actually managed to goddamn figure that out, but fair enough. Low, medium. This, I guess. Text skip, wait time. Screen flashes. So should I take that off? No, you know what? I'm gonna have it on just because I kind of want that. Hide UI element mode. Don't even know what that does. Text, cancellation, privacy. Okay, I think we're done. Oh, this is... Wait, whoa, can I actually... Oh, I can actually... Oh, I love that. This is one... I don't know if I actually finished the first trilogy first before I started playing this. But this is something I can tell you got me really into playing Ace Attorney, I believe. I'm not joking. This is one of the games I basically decided, yes, I'm gonna continue playing these games. And this was also brilliant. Warning, this museum section contains spoilers. Well, hell no then. Wait, no. Art, orchestral, accolades. There should be I hope they still have the bonus episode as well. Well, I've never played any one of these. Can I set background music? Why can I set background music? Excuse me? Alright. You know what? Let's just go into this. I am way too stunned about everything that's going on here right now. Please have the extra episodes as well. I beg of you. I'm not gonna lie, I read that as turnabout turnip. Fuck, I've been playing too much goddamn Rune Factory and shit. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna stay clear with this. I've never played this game. I think I might own it on my 3DS, but I've never played Ace Attorney. Or not... Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Never. This is the first time. Well, that's a deadly game of cards. I seem to be a bit of trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him hard. Me? Please. The cops shouldn't be here. Should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that? Because I know basically how Athena came to the game because of like the dual destinies. But I actually never know how... What is other... I forgot his name. I want to call him Apollo, but that's not his name. It is Apollo. Wait, is it Apollo? Oh, okay. Fair enough. Panicked. Palm sweaty. Mom spaghetti. I can admit it. I'm nervous. I'm not gonna do a voice for this until I know. I've already done that mistake once. Good morning, sir. Oh, you look tense, Justice. Wound up, tight? Wound up, sir? No. I'm loose. I'm fine. You loose? Excuse me? That screeching noise. Is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Your first trial, and it's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh? I'm fine. Got over 5 AM today to do my shorts of steel voice workout. I'm fine. Ah, that explains it. I did detect a certain rasping quality to your screech. I overdid it again. As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want to let him down, if you get my drift. Drift gotten, sir. I'm all over that drift. Oh, good God. I love how goddamn nervous this guy sound. He just answers the words with more of the same word. As it happens... Oh, Christoph. His name is Christoph. I dined with him the night of the murder. We can't let this case fall through. Yes? Yes, I'm fine, sir. One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. People might take you the wrong way. I don't even know if I do any voice, but I feel I'm doing a voice when I do this. I've been preparing your case. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. Who's the client, actually? My name is Apollo Justice. If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney. Well, really new. Off the pond. And today is my first trial. Not that I'm worried or anything. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants to help him out, of course, and so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him. No way. Is it, right? Yeah, it is right. Whoa. I do remember he actually had this outfit, like, in this Dual Destinies or something. I don't remember, like, how he came to just have this. Because I feel like between the third game and, like, here, he just decided to, like, no, you know what? I'm fucking done with being an attorney. Good morning? The problem is I used to have my own voice for this guy. I can't have that now. Ah, morning. It's all up to you today. Right, I remember his... I can't do his voice. It's impossible for me. I know how his voice sounds. First trial, nervous. Meeting him, cardiac arrest. I love that sum up of your goddamn body right now. I think I'm supposed to say something. Help. Oh, sorry, you're... Fine. I'm fine. Ah, Mr. Fine, is it? I didn't remember you're having an odd name. Well, we're off to a great start. Are you sure okay? I mean, with me. Miss Gavin is a top-notch defense attorney. And he's your friend, so why... Ah, you'll see. I can do it. Be confident. Oh, I'm really sorry this happened to you. I mean, it's time, shall we? Yes, sir. Because I know how it sounds. The problem is I can't get it, like, from head to mouth, we say so. I need to focus. And the problem is, like, mostly when I play this game, I've only been, like, one person. And I've only been needing to do one voice. I just realized it's gonna be worse in the other games where I actually have to, like, do 3 different voices. Because I play both as Athena, Apollo, and Phoenix. Oh, dear God. Ah, Mr. Payne, is it? The court is now in session. The prosecution's ready, Your Honor. Oh, God, I don't know why my voice just got straight to the point of doing their voices. The defense is fine. I mean, ready, Your Honor. Mind going blank, don't panic. Too late. Your name was Mr. Justice. This is your first trial. Yes, Your Honor, but I'm fine, really. Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strained. Speaking of strained voice, good God. I haven't done this in a long while. Yes, Your Honor. I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case. That was my intention, yes. However, a defense attorney must always cater to his client's wishes. And my client specifically requested Mr. Justice. Well, of course he wants justice. But to entrust this case to this greenhorn, why? I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin. If he's the best one, what the hell is Mr. Wright then? But at the same time, it doesn't look like he's an attorney any longer. Okay, so Gavin got the trial experience, fine. But does he have the Courage of Steel? Let's sing then instead. Then let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom. This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances. Long time no seen, Mr. Wright. How is it, pal? I can't. Fuck, I really hate this. I'm trying to find his. The problem is, like, I know his voice with the thought of the other games, but I can't goddamn make the voice now. Let's put the belt behind us, shall we? These days, it's merely Phoenix, right? Piano player. Oh, so he did actually quit. Mr. Wright. I guess this have happened. I won't speak of it further, then. If the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges, Mr. Payne. To think, I saw you enter this room a fresh attorney, and I will see you leave in chains. Oh, Winston Payne. Subtle as ever, I see. Ahem. The crime occurred at a Borscht Bowl Club, a Russian restaurant. The defendant, Mr. Wright, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer, and he hit him. Wham! On the head, smack, killed him cold. A customer at the restaurant, you say? And the defendant, you say he was? The pianist for the club, it seems. Phoenix Wright, a pianist. This is the weapon that took the victim's life. A bottle of grape juice. Grape juice is apparently our defendant's drink of choice. The court accepts the deadly bottle as an evidence. I don't want to actually check the... Something to note. I don't know what you want me to note, but I'm gonna check this bottle. Yeah, it's completely empty. Not only is it empty, it doesn't have any blood on it. So I'm a bit... Hold on, let me just check this. Yeah, I don't know. I feel it should have blood with the thought of it. Time of death was 7 April. Death caused by a single blow to the forehead. I was about to think it was in the back of the head, but no, that was a forehead hit. There's something to note, Justice. All evidence is... Oh, Jesus, I mixed voices there. All evidence is filed in the court record. Make a practice of checking it frequently. I just did. The court record. Right, I've heard of that. It's also called my left pocket. I'm confident in your abilities to handle this. Or is it I guess it's my right pocket then. So the victim was a customer at this restaurant. But just who was this, Shady Smith fella? We believe he was a traveler, Joanna. A traveler? According to his passport, he had been out of the country for a number of years. He had only returned to his country recently, though his place of residence is unclear. And he had some sort of connection with the defendant. That, too, is unclear at the present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Boar's Bowl Club on the night of the crime. If they had only just met, why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing? That doesn't appear to have been the case. No, the motive had nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skill. At least not piano playing. I'll let this photo explain what I mean. I just saw this photo. As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime. Wait a second. Isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in a... Oh. Indeed, it appears our defendant has fallen to become this basest sort of criminal. It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. And it was only that and that. A game. In the purest sense, a competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits. A silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. Come again. The cards on the table had blue backs, Joanna. I believe the defendant was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present and impress women. That will be our first order of business here, then. To find out more about this fatal game of cards. Very well, defendant. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held the night of the crime. I hope I'm not like too loud, to be honest, because I don't do voices too often. Oh, my pleasure. I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers at the poker table. The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attraction. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is, a game. And our customers are happy. Is he like undercover or something? A pianist who can't play piano. Better than a defensatory who can't defend. Well, very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination. Right, Your Honor. First cross-examination. Don't blow it. Are you alright? You're sweating bullets. Bullets? Where? It's a figure of speech, Justice. Your voice sounds strained and raspy too. My brain feels strained and raspy, sir. You've watched me perform cross-examinations many times. Though you've never done one yourself, have you? Care for a refresher? Nah, it's fine. I've played games like this for so goddamn long. I know exactly what the hell I'm doing. I'm basically just gonna wait for myself to just make a goddamn, like, fail compilation after me just saying this. I think you better do more than think. You know it, or you don't know it. I'm fine. Jesus, how many times have you said it this time? Of course, I'm still ready for battle. My weapon, press and present. Find any inconsistencies and lies in the testimony and reveal them to the court. That is a cross-examination. Learn it, know it, do it. Inconsistencies, lies. Phoenix Wright. See, Phoenix Wright would never lie. It's up to me to prove it. God, I'm not gonna lie, it looks like he had seen better days. The defense may begin the cross-examination. I'm glad I have a drink here somewhere with me. Like, so sure, it's not like normal lemon water and stuff that actually does help. But it is helping. Okay. So we already read this. I'm not gonna do voice for this over and over and over again. Not for the things we have done. Like, repeats. Like, I have a rule of that. I don't do voices for repeats. You can hardly play. Oh, I play sometimes when customers demand it. So I play them one song. That's usually all I want. Was that supposed to be a boast just now? The title pianist is a mask. A respectable face I wear for the world at large. Then why are you really at Borch Bowl Club? I am so happy I'm playing this right now. Like, sure, like, I was more of a fangirl goddamn base when I played Another Code, but like, that game is so close to heart. This is also close to heart, but for some reason I'm more calm about this game. I just still love it anyway. I guess it's just also because I do voices a lot. I don't just, like, read and just play. I do the voices. I have to concentrate something. I pay you just to play poker. That would seem to be the case. I'm a professional, after all. I have to take pride in that statement. It's just hard for an honest, hard-working member of society like me to imagine. Oh yes, your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston. But what? I played poker for 7 years in that little room. And I've never lost once. Wait, 7 years? That wouldn't actually surprise me. Doesn't actually surprise me. Just realized that, because, first of all, we have, like, Pearl. She's, like, I don't know, age... fucking... let's say 10, 11 in the other games. I know her age in the other games. We're gonna go to that later on. But that does mean, like, when he said 7 years, I was like, how long has it actually gone since you, like, play, like... the other games were, but actually that does make sense. That does like make a lot of sense then. And I've never lost once. What? You see why the Icon customers come now. Defeat the undefeated poker champion. It's quite a draw. That is, quite a draw. Wait, you never lost once? Not even one time? As I said, I'm a professional. He's played poker for 7 years and not lost once. Is that even possible? The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction. Okay, let me just check the photo here again. Just any inconsistencies. We have vases behind him. We have the bottle. We have poker. That's true and all. I think we have one small window. Nothing more that makes sense for right now. It's quite a history, actually. The Borch Bowl Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the days. Black market. All in past, things like the black market are only on silver screen nowadays. Suffice to say that there were a lot of deals being made under the table. Right there in that room. A smoker room, gambling hoods, you know... Just look at these pictures make me feel bad to the bone. The bosses gather around the table and cutting deals safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, a goon keep watch through the small window. I can practically picture it now. That window does look like it would be good for keeping a lookout, but little else. The room had a few other tricks to it, though it was common knowledge to our regulars. At any rate, they came to play poker in a room, steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all just good, clean fun. Okay. There is gonna be have something here. Nothing has popped up, which means I'm gonna have to press on something. 2 decks of cards. A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you alter 2 decks, no one can slip in cards. There is something else I noticed. In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lying scattered on the floor. Precisely. The cards on the table cards upon the floor, each one forming a complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad sweep of cards. It's poetic, really. Incidentally, we used two types of cards at the club. One deck of cards was red, the other blue. As I recall, in poker you make 5-card hands. I can see how it would be easy to cheat. Yes, a game of hands. Go. Excuse me, I'm pretty certain I had like one more to go through. This competition you're talking about. I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently. That's right. It was a simple game after all. Are you sure? You were not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice. Defendant, you were in the room where the very moment that crime occurred. Yet you claim no connection to the crime. Now that's strange. What's strange? I was testifying about the competition that night. Asking me about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Well, of course, I expected to hear a crap objection from the defense. I completely let that one slip by. Don't despair yet, Justice. Sir. Right. There is something I'd like to make clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand. I'd like to hear it from you. Sure, why not? Very well. The defendant will amend his testimony. Just one little press. And I've got myself a whole new testimony. Silence. The defendant has right to refuse to testify. I haven't forgotten everything about the law. But why? It clearly puts you at a disadvantage. It's your job to turn that around in our favor, yes? I'm not gonna try and do his voice because I know he has like some sort of voice. I cannot really explain his voice. Technically, I have it like a voice mod thing. Hold on, I can definitely like just do an example. Hold on. Where the hell? Oh shit! I have so many of these things. Where the hell is the objection? There. Objection! That's his voice. I can't really do that. Justice, didn't you detect anything odd about that testimony? Huh? Wait. Something said did ring a little strangely. Just one thing. Now, what was it? When you figure it out, I'd suggest you presenting evidence. Evidence that contradicts the testimony. A contradiction in Mr. Wright's testimony, but why? Okay, so he's talking about the little one. It's a little early to be jumping to conclusions. This is your first cross-examination. Take it slow. If you need more information, don't forget to press. Alright, I got it. I'm fine. God, I'm gonna have like a counter after the stream on YouTube. Like how many times I said I'm fine. Okay, so... Okay, I can press send, but I want to check the details first. Is there anything I can check? No clues here. Grape juice. Apparently, it's Mr. Wright's favorite drink. I wonder how well it goes with Borge. Well, I don't know. There isn't really anything else other than it's empty. So the question is if I should I probably should present this, right? You never touched the murder weapon. Well, technically, if it didn't touch the murder weapon, it should have the cork on, or like the lid. It doesn't have a lid on, so I guess... Fuck, which one should we do? If I do this one, it's basically like we don't have any proof that it's been tampered with. But this one will actually show that the flask has been tampered with. I was awarded the opening objection. This evidence clearly reveals a contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. Oh, God. Yeah, I did do my facts. The problem was it was a 50-50 for me. Yeah, I know. Okay, do this one. Why the bottle? That's a question, because for me it's like... That's like, it's his favorite, yes. But the problem is like... Well, at the same time, I probably should have done the bottle, because it's more of the murder weapon than anything else is. So you say you didn't touch the murder weapon? This grape juice bottle? Right. So I said. There's something the matter, Mr. Justice. Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb. What's this, Mr. Payne? I examined the bottle in question, you see. And it was covered with the defendant's fingerprints. I thought I actually could check that or something, but nope. No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine. Excess yelling can damage the judge's ears. And our case. But what about my cords of steel? Anyway, what's so strange about fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant? Well, that's true. Well, let me speak, for God's sake. No, they wouldn't prove a thing if they were normal fingerprints. Unfortunately, we'll turn upside down. But the fingerprints of the murder weapon... Well, look at that, I foreshadowed myself. Brilliant. Upside down, what does that mean? It means it was holding the bottle inverted. And there can only be one reason for that. To smack someone in the forehead with it. Yes. To brain someone with a bottle. Mr. Gavin, I think things just took a turn for the worse. Oh, I see no problem, Justice. The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything, you'll see. The defendant, can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle to the court? I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. I'm not gonna lie, my throat is already like screaming for help right now. For now. Also, at the same time, the objection I think is from the first game. And it's at the same time, it was 7 years ago, so it doesn't really give a matter of like how his voice is right now. And not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case. I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be some reason. Objection! Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something. And what might that be, Mr. Gavin? On the night of the crime, was it who reported the murder to the police? Reported? Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright, but still that... Really? Yes, well, according to the case file. The murder was reported from near the scene, but by a call from the defendant's cell phone. Near the scene? Let's take a look at the diagram of the murder scene, shall we? The victim was murdered in a small room in the basement, 2 floors down from ground level. Of course, cell phones can't get reception so far down. The offender must have used the stairs to go in this hallway to go above the ground. The call came from the first floor of the restaurant. I see, and this is the phone that made the call. The defendant could have just fled the scene of the crime if he so choose. Yet he fulfilled his duty as a citizen and reported to the authorities. And you claim he's being uncooperative. I say, Mr. Gavin, but not waste this. I think it's the prosecution has toyed with our client enough for the time being. Toyed? I assure you no one is more serious about... What was it you said? The defendant was in the room the very moment that the crime occurred. How can you possibly know this? Oh, that's a good question. How indeed? The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness. You're as good as they say you are. Someone else was in the room the night of the crime. That must mean they witnessed the crime. Everything is up till now has been a warm-up justice. Are you ready? Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand. Who is this first witness gonna be? The witness will state her name and profession. Now hold on just a moment. Where's the witness? I surmise that she has been frightened by the defendant's demonic-looking horns. Yo, Badger, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I'm kind of doing screams here. How are you doing? I hope you have a good Tuesday. This is the first time I'm booting this game up, and my voice is already screaming. But yeah, I do hope you have a good Tuesday. The weekend is already over. There will be a new weekend soon enough. I already said that. So I use a little hair gel, relax people. A little. If they can stand up like that it is more than a little. I'm pretty certain you're doing like just industrial glue or something. You doing alright? I'm glad to hear that. It's always nice when people are doing alright. Have no fear. If any horns point in your direction, this core will cut them off. Are you sure? I swear on it on my gavel. Please come out. Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor? Well, if you're sure, it's okay. Now, what? Wait a minute. Will the prosecution care to explain the witnesses' paraphernalia? Yes. She's a professional, Your Honor. Those are merely the tools of her trade. And that would be what? My name is Olga Orley. I'm employed as a waitress in Borch Bowl's club restaurant. How? What is the rule of that goddamn place if you're still carrying the borscht? Then why the camera? Of course, it's my pride to serve borscht that is a naming restaurant. But also perform, how it is said, other service. Keepers creepers. I take it one of those other services is to take customers' pictures. Like, for example, this one. I just realized there's snow inside. That's the defendant. Indeed, on the night of the murder. Man in white hat is one who has gone kaput. Indeed, that is the victim. I love this so much. Like, I really have longed for playing this game. Order! This is quite a piece of evidence to casually drop in our laps. It's the same way as I drop cold bowls and borscht on laps of customers. Casually. Why are you casually dropping cold bowls of borscht on lap? What? Why casually? The court will casually accept this new evidence. Okay. I love that it makes more sense that she casually drops the borscht into the lap. No witness! Where were you at the night of the murder? I was in my room. The hideout, we call it. Excuse me, the hideout. It is a room where a famous gangster's bad guy was
arrested. It's a room where murder took place. Look for the surprise. It's lovely. I'll post my courtroom door later for you. There. The photos will be numbered, and you will write which ones you want a copy of.
So there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga Orley, our witness. And if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, that means she must be the killer. She smacked a bowl of borscht to the forehead. Very well, witness. You will testify to the court about that night's events. Okay, let me just check, like, I want to check more of the imagery here. There we go. Okay, before I continue the reading this. Because this is the poker room. As you can see, it's basically just the basement. The window, there we have a lookout, the other seat, and probably a third seat. And this is a picture, basically, of them being in the restaurant part, which means not the basement. And yes, there is basically a crate of grape juice there, which was the murder weapon, so they could definitely have gotten that there. But to be honest, it doesn't look like they are fighting. They're looking like they're having a... well, I would say an interesting or serious conversation. Because it doesn't look like they're happy talking, like, oh, good old times or something. But basically, Smith looks like he's serious, and Wright looks like he's basically like he's listening, his interest is like, okay, tell me what you want to tell me. Also, he has, I love that he has flip-flops on. I don't know what happened since the last game, because the last game was apparently like 6 years ago, something like that, I don't know. And apparently he became like this. And I don't know why.
That night, customers asked me to deal cards for the game. It was cold, but both players played with hats on. The victim, he plays whole time with his hand locked with his hand on locket at his neck. Then last hand is done, but something terrible has happened there. A man flew at victim and is strangling him to death.
Okay, well, first of all, he didn't strangle him to death, because we already know he got a smack to the forehead. Pretty certain Dr. Strange did that, he just did it a bit more forceful. The spirit never came back. Incidentally, who won the game? Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith. That's ridiculous, because Mr. Wright can't lose. Justice, maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection. But he hadn't lost in 7 years.
Take him free from me, kid. It happens.
Do I have autoplay on? I shouldn't have autoplay on.
I didn't lose a case my first 7 years as a prosecutor either. Incidentally, I have some evidence here.
Yeah, fair enough. It did win. Yeah, both of them actually had full houses. Except that Smith had 3 kings and player 2 had only 7s. I don't really play much poker. I played some poker digitally when I got my Oculus Quest 2 because for some reason it was already installed, and to be honest, it was actually just kind of nice just casually sitting there playing poker. I think it's called a full house, right? No, it's not a full house. Is it a full house? I don't know.
The hand and chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Those on the other side belong to the victim, Mrs. Smith.
Chips, you say?
Duh. I mean, yes. Imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army, and the chips are the spoils.
I know that. After all, in my youth, I was known as the poker head of courtroom number 3. I think it means poker face. Look at this picture. It does seem that most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table. Very well. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Okay, first of all, let's just go to the obvious one. Strangled to death. And yeah, you can see I already lost a life because I was stupid enough to be too deep into my own thought. Basically, what is the problem with the flask? One, it didn't have a lid on it, which means I showed him the picture that, look, there is no lid, but it's a lid now, which was false. I was supposed to basically show the other thing. Yeah, strangle. This is a thing that is a bit... not true. But the defendant would never do such a thing. Well now, I can't say I've ever heard the defense try this tactic. If possible, please, refrain from embarrassing me. Still, why would anyone do something like this over a game of poker?
Perhaps it's because the defendant has lost game. Yes, a crushing defeat for a man undefeated. As always is with men like him, winners make sore losers. Oh, the mighty fall. It's just the guy who basically is always a tutorial dude. Go ahead. I believe you know what this you need to do. Right, sir. Leave it to me. There were only 3 people in that room at the time of the murder. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga. Mr. Wright isn't the killer. Olga has to be. Okay, yep. Okay, so the only thing I can say, I cannot just show the flask, because the flask doesn't really mean shit. But I can show this. The time of death was around 2 AM. Death was caused by a single blow to forehead. Yes, the music stopped, which means I'm right. Oh, really? Strangled, you say? That's odd. Nah, normal customers only choke on borscht.
Jesus. No, I mean this report shows that the victim died of a blow to the head.
Ah.
Miss Orley, really now? Did you witness the crime? Oh shit, she is impressive. Look at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. Can't really see any strangle marks either. He's still wearing his hat and everything.
Yes, it is a fact that he was hit, Your Honor.
Oh, damn.
There's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during the investigation.
Well, that's quite shocking, isn't it? This head certainly was hit. No shit. Like, that is basically, like, straight in between. Like, that's the middle of the forehead.
But I have seen it happen. The defendant lunged the victim, his neck.
Oh, really, Miss Orley? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time. Justice, I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you should think this through once more. What do you mean? I found a contradiction. There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me. Very well. Is it we should continue the cross-examination? There's such a thing as thinking too much? Yeah, there is. Because I fucked up before. This horse is dead. Let's stop beating it. Is that a saying? I have never heard that saying. That's a dark-ass saying. There is such a thing as thinking aloud too much, too. Are you psychic? Well, that is a bit odd, actually, because this is him with his hat on. And this is him with his hat off. But this is basically, he got hit in the forehead, which means the hat must have been off. Should I do it? Oh, fuck it, let's do it. No, I fucked up. Okay, you know what? Let's now press everything instead, because I did do the thing back there, but that's because I had evidence and I knew the problem. Let's press things instead now. Not go too quick into things. You were dealing cards. Do you do this often?
Da, I'm doing this. If customers wishes it, I serve anything. Borscht, cards, more borscht. It is my work.
It's good to hear of a place that hasn't forgotten the meaning of service.
Oh, welcome you to Borscht Bowl Club, where borscht is as warm as the waitresses.
You said that you would spill the cold borscht on people. I'm just waiting for this one to be cold-hearted then. Thank you for not handing out flyers during a cross-examination. It's already April. How could it be cold?
At Borscht Bowl Club, we have pride on authentic rustic Russian restaurant theme. Outside it's a city in spring, but inside is always cold as Mother Russia.
No way I'm going there. I was about to say it was fake snow on the image. I wouldn't surprise me that was real snow.
When it comes to hot borscht, cold is but seasoning that.
Okay, I can actually agree there. Eating something cold, eating something hot while it's cold outside, yes. Or around you, something like that. His locket.
I believe it was a good luck charm, that. He gripped it many times as he played that night.
Yes, he must have felt as thought it might carry him to the moon and the stars. Though, if it were small enough to fit around his neck, it wouldn't have much lift. The defendant would like to clarification this is a locket we're talking about. I mean a pendant with a picture in it, right? Not a rocket. Yeah, of course I knew that. That's probably a pendant shaped like a rocket. That's why she called it that. No, a locket. A locket's a... It's considered a bad form to poke fun of the hard of hearing in our society. Hard of hearing or hard of understanding?
So, what happened next?
Something terrible. The defense will refrain from needless shouting. Sorry. Also, when it does that, sometimes it's like it just does that automatically, so I don't even try to do voice for it. Sorry. I need to seriously reconsider this vocal training thing. Now, Miss Orley, can you tell us what happened?
Oh, I was so frightened that I trembled with fear.
You didn't say anything about hitting before.
I'm so sorry. I must have been forgetting this.
Witness will take greater care with your testimony.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. And that clears up the discrepancy with the autopsy report, I believe. The defendant made to strangle his victim, then change his mind. Then choose a similar blunter means to do the job. Yes, that sums it up nicely.
We strangled him, then hit him. Something's fishy about all this. But go ahead. I believe you know what it is you need to do. Alright, sir, leave it to me. We're only 3 people. Yeah, I know. Okay, so I have not played a game like this since like last year. I am rusty as hell. Okay, so wait, did you actually change your testimony? This has changed now, so that means I did something good. This doesn't seem to be doing anything. The only thing we got was this. I am a bit curious here, actually. I'm pretty certain I overthink things way too much, to be honest. Oh, hello. Whoa, the battery's being held in place with tape. I'm old enough to have seen this in real life. You should just buy a new one. Maybe you can afford it. They just doesn't care. Can you open it then, please? Well, it might just be something in there. Okay, that is odd. I can even check on this thing. Oh, why is this a screw? There's a number inscribed on the back of the badge. There are many numbers like it, but this one is mine. Prove that I'm an attorney. To tell the truth, I get a happy feeling inside just looking at it. Happy for you. Okay, so yeah, we heat them with a bottle. We know that. And we can see the heat there, and also there is at least the blood. Then the last hand is done, but something terrible has happened there. The victim plays the whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. Hold on, do we have people? No, we don't have people yet. We only have that, so we cannot really go that. Okay, so let's go through these. What does make sense? That night, customer asked me to deal cards. That could make sense. It was called both player with hats on. To be fair, we have seen both of them wear hats, so that's fine. There's no discrepancy here. The victim he played the whole time with his locket around his neck. Oh, hey, hold on. I mistook something. I know for a fact that Wright had... Wait, Wright has the same locket the dude has. Hold on here. He doesn't have one. I'm not gonna lie. I misread it as the defendant was holding his hand on a locket. But then I now read and it was the victim. But I know that the defendant had one, not the victim. You know, there was one curious part in her testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said, but what does it mean? Yeah, Mr. Justice, would you care to explain what it is you're thinking so intensely about? Recall the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on the locket at his neck, I believe she said. I hope you aren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar. No, but look at this photograph. Look at this graph. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck? Well done, Justice. I am impressed. And you will be able to handle this. I'm not gonna lie, I doubted myself. But what does this mean? If we were to believe this witness testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death. Lockets just don't just disappear, Your Honor. It's quite simply when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone must have taken it off, no? Taken it off. Wait, you don't mean the defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all? He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it? Yeah, because I did see the locket around Mr. Wright's neck. The defendant, what do you have to say about this? Yeah, you see the thing that looks like... Say... Yes. I just noticed this, but... You have something hanging around your neck, don't you? Oh. Oh, you mean this? Yeah, it's a locket. With a photograph inside. A photo of my daughter. Come again? Mr. Wright, you have a daughter. We confirmed it at the time of the arrest. The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter. I know who Mr. Wright's daughter is. I don't know though how they came to meet up with each other, because I am definitely certain it is not biologically daughter. So Mr. Wright has a locket too. Why don't I buy that this is just a coincidence? Well now, if the result of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps you should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game. Further testimony won't really be necessary. It's clearly the defendant lost badly. Miss Orley, you'll testify to the court about the game played between the victim and the defendant.
Da.
The funny part is I do have voice mode, but I don't really use it for shit like this. It's just funnier doing it myself.
The game began with 3,500 points and chips for each man. The house chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who was winning. It was the victim. It was victim. For last hand, defendant played with all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, the defendant grabbed bottle from table and...
Indeed. Look at this picture. It does seem to be a one-side game.
As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life.
Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow. Again, says the tutorial dude. How many times have I heard these words? I done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor. It's, by the way, it's not me continuing that. I don't have autoplay on. Do I have autoplay on? I don't have autoplay on. Just checking. Mr. Rudd said he hasn't lost in 7 years. This testimony must be wrong. You are always able to lose a game, I can tell you that, but... Sure, it is... uncertain of how or why. Are those the usual starting points? Were any special rules used?
No, not special. Usual game, usual rules.
If each man begin with 3,500 points, the total would be... exactly... no, 7,000 points. Please, this isn't calculus. It's not even long division. He just stands silent there. Are the chips in this photo all the chips that were used?
Da, of course.
Something's fishy with these chips. Well, she's nervous as hell. Press harder. Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips.
Explain? What is there to be explained?
Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fish and chips. Not a chip off the old block. Not a boat. Could you please stop doing that? I'm trying to do a voice. I'm not even pressing A. I'm not pressing a button when that happened. Thanks. Now I pressed her. I better ask something. Is there like an option for that? Hold on. Let me... Yeah, that's off. Consultation is off. Gameplay. Screen flash on. Subtitles on. Text skip off. Yes. Wait time. Adjust the length of time until the next line dialogue is displayed in autoplay and story mode. Okay, no, I'm not gonna care about that because it doesn't do anything anyway. Okay, fair enough. I cannot do anything about that. It's just how it works. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars or rubles even?
Yet. As I have been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Are perhaps of capitalist to understand.
Jesus.
2 types of ships, 100 points and 1,000 points ship.
Okay, wait, hold on. So, 100 points and 1,000 points. So, we have 1,400. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Interesting. This is very interesting. Because, as they said, it was a point match between 3,500 points. Comes 7,000 points. But here we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then 10,600. That would basically be 300 each for a 3-player game. And then something else. Because, yeah, sure, you can get like extra bigger chips, but the problem is it's still more than 7,000, so something is off here.
It's not money, da.
Justice. Sir? don't you find her comment interesting? Definitely. We had the same goddamn brain cell for this moment. In more ways one wants, sir. I'd have it added to her testimony myself. Well, does the defendant want to... Yeah, add to testimony. Yes, I do think this deserves further scrutiny. Add it to the testimony. I wish I knew where I was going with this. Very well, witness. If you would be so kind.
That, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's first press this before I do anything else. Mr. Gavin said this testimony is important. To be honest, I have no idea why. Mr. Justice, do the court a favor and think of what you want to say before you raising your hand? We're not in kindergarten. Yeah, sorry, I'm fine. I'd better think of something to ask, and quick. Two types of ships.
Ah,
The small ones are 100, and the big ones are 1,000. Right?
ah. Don't waste our time.
Okay, yeah, that was just worse. I'm just skipping this because it's kind of painful. Oh, Justice. Please try not to embarrass me like that. Who? Me? There's a clear contradiction in the information you have in your hands. It's a simple matter of calculation. I know. I was just cautious, okay? I was just cautious, please. Just, there we go. You're sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure.
It seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won, if you're not in kindergarten.
Just for safety's sake, could you explain the problem to the court? Of course, Your Honor. Oh, wait a second. I'm doing things backwards, aren't I? Basically, there are 6 small ships and 10 big ships. Oh, now I understand why they did exactly the problem I had, because I understand the problem here. Look, if we move them around, the small ships are 1,000 and the big ships are 100. We can definitely go to 3,500. But that means also that right is winning. But I'm not gonna lie, my first thought was basically that something is wrong here. Because it goes up to 10,000 if the big ones are big ones. But I didn't think of actually reversing them. But it does make sense now, especially when we have 6 of the small ones, which gives 6,000, and then 10 of the big ones that gives 1,000, which then gives 7,000. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points?
Why, the big one, of course. Duh.
Oh, I thought so too. But then the total doesn't add up.
The totals.
Let's review what the witness told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in ships. And the combined total value of the ships was 7,000 points. But yes, if our calculations are correct. Let's see. 3 plus 1. Carry the 5. Carry the... Okay, fair enough. They are, Your Honor. Now, look at the photo that allegedly shows all the ships. If the big ships are worth 1,000 points, and the small ships are worth 100 points, and you add them up, how much is it? Do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? 10,600 points. The ships doesn't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness testimony.
But why? How could this be?
Exactly, Justice. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why. Right, the only reason possible to explain this... starting point was wrong, both were right, ship count was wrong. The odd thing here is the number of ships. No, oh, crying out loud. No, I messed up. I was thinking of the worth of them. Justice, it's your case I'm concerned about. If you're wondering about the ships, just look at the photograph. It's all there. Even our judge with his failing eyesight could count them. Let me ask you again. Okay, yeah. The starting points were wrong. Oh, I'm stupid. The points are right. The count was right. Both are right. Fuck me. It's the value that is wrong. Each man began with 3,500 points. If all the ships are indeed shown in this photograph, there can only be one answer. Well, what is it? The value of the ships was the other way around. What? Want to know what I think? The small ships are worth 1,000 points, not the big ones. Madness! The utter madness! Show me the photograph of the ships again. There are ships, 6 small ships, and 10 large. Yep, why, that does make 7,000 points when you add them up. Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured out by yourself. Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it. But wait! The value of the ships may be different, but that changed nothing. It does change something. Right one. Indeed. The victim did have the larger number of ships still. Exactly. If the small ships are worth 1,000 points, and the large ships are 100 points, let's do a little math. Add up the points for each side of the table. The victim, Mrs. Smith, had 2,900 points, and Mr. Wright had 4,000 points. Well now, it seems that Mr. Wright was winning that night after all. That's impossible. My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning. Yeah. Now, Miss Orley, you must have known the true value of the ships, since you were there at the scene of the crime, weren't you? Is it a lobster in there? I'm kinda curious now. The order in the court. It appears a defendant has lost his motive, and Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. We must now ask ourselves whether... Excuse me. What is it, Miss Orley?
I did not want to be saying this, but actually, you see,
See what, Miss Orley? What do we see?
in the last hand, was a cheat.
A cheat? You don't mean a trick? Wait, there was? Hold on, let me check this. A cheat? I don't see a cheat. No, not really. Like, Mr. Wright has Heart 7, Diamond 7, Clover 7, Spade Ace, Diamond Ace, and then over there it's Diamond, Clover, no, not Clover, what is it? Spade, Diamond, Clover, and yeah, like there, I don't see a cheat. Wait, or do you mean a scam? They're all the same thing.
Yes, so there was a cheat in last hand. That is why game end with ships as they are.
Great, just great. First we have lying, now cheating. Well, this case certainly have taken a turn for the interesting. Witness, will you please testify to the court? Tell us about the cheating. In the final hand. Okay, this is getting interesting. I've never actually played this game before. Never played this game. I have played the other ones that comes after. I have never played the Great Ace Attorney before. I have streamed it, and I am uploading it on YouTube. But it was the first time I played that as well. The trilogy, I don't really remember. I think I played some of it, or I did play all of it, but I did stream it as well. This game, though, never played it.
The last hand, both men had full house. There is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. If you look at both men's hand, cheat is more obvious.
Okay, I don't play that much poker. Am I just stupid here? Is this really a cheat? Because I see 3 kings out of 4 kings. Then I see 4 aces out of 4 aces. And then 3 sevens out of 3 sevens. And none of these are matching a goddamn suit. I don't see a cheat. Also, it looks like this turned upside down there, but that might just be the graphics.
Next moment, the game becomes argument. The defendant's trick was exposed. He took bottle in his hand. Poor Mrs. Smith.
Miss Orley, why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? Hold on, I'm just gonna take off my bandana thing because my head is getting warm. Ew, warm and sweaty. Ugh. I thought I smelled a cover up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers. A full house is a very high scoring hand. But this is to make, in my experience.
That alone isn't enough to suspect Lester's scrupulous tactics.
Mr. Gavin? What's a full house? Well, lawyers these days. Also, I was right. I was wondering it was a full house, and it was a full house. Oh, I am good.
You don't know your poker.
I can't say, well, say this bodes well for your case. Or career. What is this? Some kind of secret court poker ring? Justice. You know the terms 1 pair, 2 pair, and 3 pair. 3 of a kind, yes? Yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number. 2 cards with the same number is a pair. 3 makes a 3 of a kind. Good. Now picture a hand with 1 pair and 1 3 of a kind. That is a full house. That doesn't sound very easy to make, does it?
You can see each player's hand in this photo.
Yeah, I know, and it doesn't look bad.
We forget there are easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat.
The defense may cross-examine the witness. If you did cheat in the last hand, that will leave one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Whoever heard of a professional con man losing when you cheat? Isn't that what I've been saying? Like, I did say that before, that the guy won the hand. Yes, he won the money. Yes. Okay, let's just start pressing this, just in case. Already lost 2 lives here. Just how hard is it to make a full house anyway?
It is quite hard, that. It is making a pair and a 3 of a kind the same time.
I guess that's right. Very difficult, to be sure. You can take my word as the poker head of courtroom number 3.
Very difficult, that. But it is not impossible.
Okay, full house hard. This line of questioning, a waste of time. I'm not gonna lie, each time he puts his finger on his forehead, it looks like he's giving them the finger. 4 of each card, you say?
There is 1 spade, 1 diamond, 1 heart, and 1 club for each card. It is an interesting fact that this number 4 comes from number of seasons.
You don't say. Did you know that the cards are numbered 1 to 13? Add all the cards in a deck and you get 364 a year. You don't say. Is that 1 day short?
That's why each deck has 2 jokers. They say the second joker stands for the leap year. Thus you have a perfect representation of the year, all in a deck of cards.
You don't say. We're going to be in this courtroom for a year if it just keeps going like this. Can you explain why? How was it clear?
Well, the defendant, he played a 5th ace.
What are you talking about, a 5th ace? I don't see a 5th ace. Yeah, like if he did do a 5th ace. Yes, definitely. But I don't see a 5th ace. A 5th ace?
I still remember both hands very well.
Oh. Now that's odd.
Obviously cheating was afoot. Or perhaps I should say a hand.
Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's joke. Very well. The witness will add this detail to her testimony, please. Yes. Because basically we already have an image of how the game looks. It appears the witness is mistaken.
Mistaken? But my name?
Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony. That's the photo of the chips, is it not? Justice, perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way that the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point. Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo. What particular point contradicts the witness' testimony? This one. Because basically she said this, and this, and this one. Miss Orley, in your testimony you made the following claim. Miss Smith's hand has 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces.
Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question.
Take another look at the evidence. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where this 5th ace? I see cheating alright, and it's going on right here in this courtroom. True that. 2 aces in each player's hand. Does make 4 aces total. Hardly proof of cheating.
Wait, please. It is true. I have seen it, the 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you.
That's odd. She must be lying, yet she's the most sincere I've ever seen her all day. You're right to trust your instinct, Mr. Gavin. Who knows what lies in store for us in the trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion. What might that be, Mr. Gavin? If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards. The cards? Mr. Payne.
Yes.
The player's hand that night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards is shown to court. Very well. The prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine? The victim's cards or the defendant's cards? If these cards don't prove cheating, what's going on? Nothing will. Now, which of these hands are suspicious? The victim one, because that's what she said. It was the victim's hand that changed over the course of the witness testimony. The defense requests time to examine Mrs. Smith's cards. Very well. Mr. Payne, if you would.
Very well.
Well, it's time's wasting. Get to it, Justice. Yes, sir. Boop. Please don't tell me it's like a double fold thing. When examining evidence, be sure to view it from all sides and angles. Yeah, I know about how to do this. I did it before. That should give you a better perspective on the case. Okay, let's do this. First of all, let's turn it around. Whoa, hello. That is strange. This one is actually another color. What? Your Honor, look at this. One of the victim's cards. The back is a different color. Ah!
That's impossible. But I put that...
You did what? What was that, Mr. Orley?
No, yet. I merely said that I have...
Your Honor. Mr. Gavin? Yes? Tell me, what is the easiest way to cheat at poker? To cheat? I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend, a comrade, shall we say. The dealer. Wait, so you mean this witness, Miss Orley? She's the cheater. A professional, I'd wager. And I think we got her. Order, everyone. Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. Take advantage of her. Good God. Of her mistake. Yeah, good Jesus. Your Honor, please recall the testimony we just heard.
That's possible. But I put that card in the right hand.
There you go. Miss Golden and Miss Olga Orley conspired to cheat. Not with my client, but with a victim, Miss Shady Smith. Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim.
What?
Wait, you don't mean the defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga, or are you? And for justice, there were 3 people in the room at that time of the incident. If Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means I am. The defense accuses the witness, Mr. Olga Orley, of murder. No, she's not catching this one. Apparently it catched itself. Fair enough. Mr. Payne, where is your witness, Mr. Olga Orley?
It appears she has lost the consciousness, Your Honor.
Mr. Justice. Your Honor. It seems you have presented a new possibility to the court. The one suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mrs. Smith. And that means... this court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time.
What?
I did it. I held out. I see no point in prolonging the trial this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries. I thought it sounded a bit odd. It was this normal one, which I can't make voice of, so I can't make Mr. Wright's real voice. You can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet.
What nonsense is the defendant spewing now?
Think. One of the cards has a different colored back. Don't you wonder what it means?
What are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raise an objection right where you're about to get off the hook. Ridiculous.
Mr. Payne, you of all people should know. Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. Perhaps we both should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game of the fateful night. Jesus, I really need to drink a lot here today. Especially when I do the judge's voice. It is like rasping my voice here. As I said before. We altered between the 2 decks of cards that night. That was said before. The 2 decks at the club have different color backs, blue and red. 1 color per deck. Why is different colored backs? If you use the same color, the 2 decks might get mixed. We used different color and they still got mixed up. We used a red deck for the last game. I see, but that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you were just You were using blue cards. Yeah, me too. I'm sure someone said something about the blue cards. Whatever, in the end of one card of the wrong color got mixed in. Which means there was cheating. Yeah, that card slipped into the deck. Would seem to indicate cheating. Yet this card raises two serious questions. Apollo? Yes? Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think, in the last game, when was the card swapped? When? There are three broad possibilities here. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder. Well, yeah, thanks for the new bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course it was swapped. Oh. It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne. Or it might not be. Ugh. I'd like you to hear it from Apollo. What do you think first? When do you think the cards were swapped? Once the cards swapped in the deck? Before murder, during murder, after murder? After murder? Perhaps it happened after the murder. What's that? Ridiculous. What's the point of cheating after a hand has been shown? That's silly. Yes, but tell me. How do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible. Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossibility. Impossible. Even when the backs of cards are different color. If you pull that during the game, you'd be caught in no time. Well, quite true. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown. After the murder. Okay, this is going past silly or straight on to crazy. I ask again, what is the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that? Who indeed? Oh shit, sorry, I mixed their voice now. Who indeed? Oh, fuck. There's another. Yes, a simple yet decisive question must be asked. Who swapped the red card for the blue card? Well, who? The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only two remain in the room, alive that is. The defendant Phoenix Wright and our witness Olga Orley. Olga? Wait, it must have been Olga Orley who swapped the cards. She was trying to cover up evidence for the cheating. That does make some sense. I'm sorry, but there's a problem with that explanation. Ugh. The swapped cards from the wrong deck. Yes, a blue card was struck into a red hand, mixing cards from the wrong deck. On the backs are different colors. Remember that you're talking about Olga Orley. She was the dealer. You really think she would make such a novice mistake? Actually, I have trouble imagining even the judge making that mistake. Give it a little more thought, Apollo. Right. Okay, so... Phoenix? The one who swapped the cards was Mr. Wright. It was you, wasn't it? And why would I do such a thing? Well, because... maybe you were trying to hide the fact that you cheated? That would make sense, but... The swapped cards was in the victim's hand. Oh. Sorry. I'm a nice guy, but I'm not that nice. Come to think of... Okay, this is ridiculous. There is another person there. Okay, so who wasn't that? Someone else? The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course. And well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga Orley either. What are you suggesting? That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As a defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss Orley at this point. Yes, I know. But she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make a mistake of swapping the wrong colored cards. If the card was swapped during the game, it would be obvious. Something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright? Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking how much fun all this is. Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the cards wasn't the defendant, and it wasn't Miss Orley, who was it? Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it? Precisely. Huh? I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction. A new direction? We'll find that indeed after the murder. Someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand. And that someone made 2 critical mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us the first was swapping the wrong color card. Because the one who did swap didn't know the colors of the cards were being used. The other mistake was the number of the cards. Right. The person replaced the fifth ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a 5th ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it. So I'm guessing like Mr. Right won, but someone was like, oh, something has happened here and just switched it. But there is one problem here. I'm gonna come to that in a moment. According to a case record, this person doesn't exist. True, not until now, but you have to admit the possibility of a 4th person. Though, it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime. Oh, yeah. The lookout. He said it before. The game, they always had a lookout. I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright. This trial has proceeded on one central assumption. Namely, that at the time of the incident, there were only 3 people in that room. I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption. The problem is that you choose to conceal this information from the court. I suppose that is a problem, yes. Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess. Certainly, Your Honor. Very well. The trial will resume in 20 minutes. Oh god, my throat, I'm not gonna lie, Jesus. It is raspy right now. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. The sudden claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it true? Well now, I think you would know the answer of that. Being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask you, leave the defending to your defense in the future. Sorry, hold on. I don't know if you heard that one, but that was a blow windy one. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. Yeah, I see you haven't mellowed up a bit, Christoph. Justice? Yes, sir. The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? You're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket. Here, you can take a look at it. There's a picture of my daughter in there. I have seen her as around like 16 or like 17, something like that. But I'm pretty certain that is when she's younger and she's absolutely adorable. I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? You know what happened 7 years ago. What I did. It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat. I never honest, but is it odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years? Want to know something? There is only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Huh? You see, poker is all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's like a court case. Poker is like a trial law. You figure out what your opponent is thinking and you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a valuable source of information. You're kidding. A witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during a certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No. Come on, who would have noticed that? Words, habits, twitches. It's all information for the reading. That's the secret of winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up these signals. No? You can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What was he talking about? But you will, soon and then. Ah, I almost forgot. One more thing about this case. You should know that I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. What? I knew it. I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power. My power? I know that my shores of steel were that special. It's time. The little trial begins now. Do your best. I'm having a lot of fun with this. Even if my voice is basically just crackling, I'm having a lot of fun. This series is one of my... I love this series. Yep, we're gonna continue to the next chapter. I still have, time to stream. April 20, 12:14 p.m. District Court, Courtroom 2. The court will now reconvene. Has a witness, Miss Olga, already recovered?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, she regained consciousness.
Perhaps we can hear her version of the events again.
That's the thing, you see. She's quite fatigued.
You look like you're a bit fatigued yourself, Mr. Payne. Sadly, fatigue is sufficient grounds for refusing to testify or prosecute. The defense would like to request that Miss Olga take the stand. Yeah, very well, the witness will take the stand. Perhaps we'd like to repeat your name and profession. Or perhaps you will either admit that you are a poor liar and a poor loser.
Not.
Ah, there we have the change. I was wondering when the change was gonna come. This is something I do love with these games where you basically have one person and they just change either how they act and sometimes even how they dress.
Name's Olga Orley. That's the truth. I'm a pro dealer. People call me Olga Quickfingers Orley.
Oh, really?
Want to know something else? I'm not really Russian, and my last name sounds like oh really. That's the truth. I hope you're satisfied.
Fair enough. Witness, you will tell the court what you were really up to that night.
Fine, I'll talk. We had a plan, see?
I remind you that you are currently under oath. Any further fabrications will have serious consequences.
Fine. Like I said, I'm a pro. That guy Smith hired me to do what I do best. I was planned at the Borscht Bowl club several days prior to the night of the game, as a waitress.
So you were in cahoots with the victim?
Not that he needed my help. Smith is a very well-known poker player in some circles. But winning wasn't the main purpose of this game. It was about destroying a legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. The plan was simple, elegant really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. It was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 S's during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut. Exposed as a cheater and losing on top of it, he would have made a great double play. Just like that, the legend would have dashed to pieces.
Indeed. Getting caught red-handed at the cheating would cause no doubt that... on all his prior wins.
7 years legend destroyed by one little card. That was the plan.
Oh, really, Orly? How droll. But it appears you made quite a mistake. A mistake? I agree, the trap was elegant. Yet, what happened to that planted card? Hey, that's right.
He's lucky, I'll give him that. You have to slip free from a trap laid by Olga Quickfingers Orly.
Oh, really? The witness would be much cuter if she dispensed with the evil mastermind shtick.
Cute? Who wants to be cute?
To be honest, I kinda like the prior Olga than this Olga, so I agree.
I'm not cute, I'm bad. You hear me? I'm bad to the bone.
When you're true being bad, perhaps you could testify to the court. Tell us about this trap and how it was sprung. Oh.
That night, I planted the card like it was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hand, like it was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. It wasn't me who had hit Smith. It was that no-good cheating defendant.
You say cheating, but basically he didn't cheat. You just cheated for him. A surprisingly frank testimony that still leaves us mostly in the dark.
Trap was perfect, I tell you. Perfect if that rotten cheater hadn't messed up.
Look who's talking. Well, the testimony for what it's worth is all yours, Mr. Justice. Mr. Justice. Okay. You're just gonna press everything. Always good to press everything in the beginning. If nothing is very, very obvious, like for example, he got strangled first. This planted card, which card was it exactly?
The trump card, the 5 of hearts. The 5 of hearts.
The 5 of hearts? Why would that help? Let me guess. Mr. Wright was to have switched the 5 with the ace to make a full house. At least that's what you were going to accuse him of doing, thereby ruining his legend.
I slid it to Mr. Wright into Wright's pocket.
When was this?
Why, before the match, of course. While he was eating. At the borscht bowl, we serve borscht and suckers.
Remind me never to go there.
Of course, the card was to make its grand debut during the game. Like a good borscht, a good plot must be cooked up early and allowed to thicken.
Is borscht actually thick? So everything went according to plan.
Exactly. The 5th ace came up, so it's obvious the switch went off without a hitch. Once the extra card was found in his pocket, Wright would have been forever known as a cheater and a fraud.
There were things to be known, as I suppose. Tell us what happened with the search. The card disappeared.
Yeah, my trump card, the 5 of hearts.
Hold on, I'm gonna check something. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I don't see anything that deals with a 5 here or anything.
We searched every nook and cranny, even inside his cute little hat.
But the card was nowhere to be found. This is correct.
Never in my long storied career, never has quick-fingered Orly been readily duped.
Oh, so what did happen to that 5 of hearts?
Don't look at me. Why did you ask that cheating, lying, two-faced defendant?
I love that he's saying, oh, the lying two-faced defendant and cheating. they were the one cheating, and for some reason, like, he still cheated. Like, you sure about that? You really sure about that? The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. Wait, isn't that a little odd? What's odd? You searched Mr. Wright thoroughly and found nothing, which means he didn't cheat, which means he had no reason to strike the victim.
Well...
Oh. Oh yeah, here we have the power he has. What was that just now? I sensed something. Something wrong, Mr. Justice. No, nothing, Your Honor. What to do? Should I press her a little harder? Press harder. Miss Orley, you're hiding something.
What are you talking about? Me? Quick Finger Orley, hiding something?
Oh, hide it.
A defense will refrain from baseless accusations.
I have one question for the witness then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true?
Of course it's true. I did see it, honest. I saw it I saw when Wright hit him. With my own eyes, I saw it.
What's this weird vibe I'm getting? That witness of, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during a certain part of her testimony. Did you notice? Touching her neck, was it? Whoa, what's going on? The sensation, it's coming into focus. There, that twitch. It's so clear. It's like I perceive her habit like I couldn't before. Gotcha. Perceive! Miss Orley, perhaps you are unaware of this yourself.
Unaware of what?
Whenever you get into a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand.
My neck? So what?
What indeed, Justice? I hadn't noted anything of the sort. When she says that part of the testimony, she's subconsciously recalling something. Her body reacts to the memory, and she touches her neck. I'm sure of it.
A memory? Would someone care to explain what he's babbling about?
This is highly unusual, but let's ask the defense. You claim the witness is remembering something. Maybe you have evidence of this memory to show us. Her habit is scratching her neck whenever she talks about the moment of the crime. So what would remind her most of the moment of the crime? Miss Orley, whenever you recall the crime that night, you scratch your neck. I've noticed it happen when you think about the moment of the crime. There must be some reason behind this habit of yours. I believe the weapon that left an indelible impression on your neck is this. That is the weapon. Whenever she talks about the moment of the crime, she touches her neck. And what reminds us more of that moment than this bottle, the murder weapon. But something doesn't fit. If you were only the witness to the crime, why would that make you touch your neck like you're in pain?
Well, what's he talking about?
It was Mrs. Smith, the victim, who was hit, not you. That is kind of true.
This is a cross-examination, not a cross-wild conjecture. The witness habits, they're completely irrelevant.
Justice, I'll admit, I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. I'll explain later, just trust me. Now, our only chance to break her. Miss Orley, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime, the very moment.
Yet, I'm knowing nothing.
We know you're not Russian. The witness will testify. Please. Now.
Fine. He's the one who did it. Didn't let him out of my sight until the cops got there.
Different personality, but the same testimony. I believe you have her where you want her, Justice. The circumstances have changed, yet her testimony has not. That means there's got to be contradiction in there. Quite. You're hiding something, and that habit of yours proves it.
I'm ludicrous. I'm not hiding anything.
You touch your neck again. It's no use trying to hide it. I can see right through you. I'm gonna do just press first.
You seem uneasy. You try standing up here.
Your eyes are darting all over the place. You must be getting warm. Tell me, after the crime, what was the defendant like?
Well, he must have stunned by the weight of his crime. He sat in a daze at a table until the cops came.
Intriguing. I believe you got all the testimony you're going to get of this witness. So, what do you think about her testimony? I'll tell you what I think, her testimony. It's flawed. For first of all, he went up to call the cops. It's basically bogus. It contradicts the evidence.
But what's that?
Well, show us this evidence, Mr. Justice. This evidence that you claim contradicts the testimony. She didn't let him out of her sight until the cops got here. I know there's some evidence that contradicts that. Miss Orley, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you said. It states that the police were alerted by report from the defendant.
Eh?
And we know that the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made a call from the first floor of the Borscht Bowl Club. So explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely. Damn. Talk about face shot.
The man who picked up a bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant.
Back to the painting thing, I guess. Oh no, it's just how it looks here. I completely forgot about that. Showtime. You lose.
Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle from next to right, and it hit me.
Okay, fair enough.
When I came to, the victim was already dead.
Oh, this is the wrong one. The victim was already dead. Is that it?
That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. If it came out that I was in league with Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure.
Well, where does this leave us?
Madness? This is madness. I'm dreaming. It must have been me who was hit with a bottle, and I'm imagining all of this. For fuck's sake.
It appears our prosecution is at his wit's end, and frankly, I cannot blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events? Mr. Gavin, sir? I believe that as the defense in this case, we are compelled to call Miss Orley a big fat liar.
What?
3 were in the room the night of the murder. The defendant, victim, and her. And she has a motive. A motive. Her plot foiled. The witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. And the denouement of that argument was murder. What? I'm not a killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me. Oh god, he hasn't laughed now. Oh, what a tangled webs we have when we practice to deceive. So tangled, we catch ourselves in the process. Mr. Wright? Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin. What are you saying? Why not consider the other possibility? That there was another person in the room at the time of the murder. Right, like Mr. Wright was saying before recess. A single card was swapped into the victim's hand after the murder. And the one who swapped the card didn't know 2 colors of cards were being used. A 4th person. This theory again, your 4th person doesn't exist. Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there is no escape and no chance for deception. The perfect place to catch the real criminal. The real criminal? Well, we're in luck. A clue to the real criminal identity was kindly provided for us. And right at the beginning of the trial, no less. What? What? Apollo, perhaps you must know what I'm talking about. Sorry. Remember what I said. The 4th person who swapped the cards made one crucial error. He or she wasn't considering the colors of the backs of the cards. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? The cards used for the last game was red. Yet, there is one person here in court who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too, but why? Well, Apollo. I think you can figure it out who it was. It's not me, I swear. Who is this 4th person? I'd always get up to a spot like this. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even remember them talking about that. Let's see what the defense has to say. Who was it? Who thought the cards used in the final game were blue? Well, he did actually give us the blue deck as, here's the card that was used in the game. Apollo, do you seriously think that? No, not really. I think I'm seriously confused. I'm seriously sorry. That didn't go well. Well, it can't be helped. I almost missed it myself, but it doesn't do anyone good to turn their eyes away from the truth. Doesn't it, Christoph? Wait, he did actually say he was eating with Mr. Wright that day. Mr. Gavin! You don't mean... Christoph Gavin, you were the 4th person that night. But of course Mr. Gavin known the color of the cards. How would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is black and white. You can tell which of the cards are blue. The ones on the floor or the table. But look, you can see the colors in this photo. Yes, but when he said the blue cards were blue, the cards were blue. It was well before this evidence came to light. It is true that the defendant... Is it true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim? It was only that a game, in the purest sense, a competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passion. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. Well, Christoph? Mr. Gavin? Mr. Gavin, is something the matter? No, nothing. Excuse me, it was just so... sudden. Right. You aren't seriously accusing me, are you? Oh, Christoph. You know, even I'd never take a joke this far. This is gonna be beyond ridiculous. You're dumb. This is insanity. The defendant accusing his own defense attorney for murder. I assure you, I'm quite sane. But what possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim? I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mrs. Smith either. Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim has never ever met. Well, what if they have? Huh? There is a possibility after all. They may have met that night before the game started. What are you suggesting? Is this the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about? Well, only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you... The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin, testimonies must relate to the case. How could anything happen before that game of poker be related? Yeah, no, I'm not sure I'm following, Mr. Gavin. As explained before, the defense believes that Mr. Orley... I'm not... Am I to assume you speak of Mr. Justice in this? He is the defense, not you. Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you. Oh, okay. Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony? Yes, we need to hear it. I think that's where he actually fucked up. Like, oh yeah, Mr. Wright is the one that's going to prison. Let's just take the rookie because he really wants the rookie. And I'm getting out from this free. The problem is by doing that, he basically made himself the one that has no power. This was Mr. Wright's strategy. He was planning this all along. I intend to see it through. The defense would like to repeat that Mr. Wright testified to the court. That too, Justice. You would betray me, the teacher. I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. This isn't about loyalty. This is about the truth. Very well. The defendant, Mr. Wright, will take the stand. Please. That evening, Christoph and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. When the trap failed... Oh, did I lose connection to my stream? Hold on, it just said I reconnected to chat. Hold on, let me just check. Am I still here? Let me just quickly check here, because something might have happened. No, I seem to still be here. Odd, okay. Fair enough. Did see my numbers. Don't like to see my numbers, but fair enough. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold and Smith was uncontrollable. I'll have to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from the cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin. Mr. Gavin, you were at the Borscht Bowl Club that night of the murder. I dined with him rather frequently. And he talked to the defendant on the phone directly after the murder. Quite against my will, I had become involved in the murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all along, weren't you, Wright? Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial. The only thing I want is the truth, as I did back then and now. I thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. It appears I was wrong. Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness. Justice. Sir, he is lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir? Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright, this can't end well. Why can't I have a normal trial? Good question. Nothing here is normal ever. Take that from a guy who's basically played almost every single game now. You had the dinner with Mr. Gavin. Yes. He dines with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. We're enjoying a usual dinner at the usual spot as usual. I always eat at the table, like closer to piano. I see. Where Mrs. Smith was sitting.
Is that a plate and such on the table were from your dinner?
Indeed. The remnant of my meal with Christoph. We dined for 2 hours, then Christoph left. After that... 5 minutes. So the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time. That would have been a fateful encounter to be sure.
Oh, Mr. Wright. What was it you said? Christoph Gavin and Shady Smith may have met.
I did believe I said that.
Here I was all nervous about this meeting. And now we hear they just passed in the hall.
That does seem a little weak as a pretense for murder. I would be if that were all really happened. Come on, Mr. Wright. What are you hiding this time? About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga mentioned.
The plan was simple, elegant, really, you see. We set up a trap of sorts. It was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces.
Yes, a harmless prank in essence. It was by a quirk of fate that I happened to discover it.
A quirk?
I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. The card she planted. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was a 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game.
Disposed? Where?
It was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. An empty bottle of grape juice? Wait, hold on. You're talking about this one. Where? I can't see anything, it's empty. The murder weapon. Yes, I rolled it up and shoved it in the colored glass, make it hard to see. A battle of wits between the deceiver and the would-be deceived. That's a little sounds like a terrific drama. A card inside the murder weapon. That's strange. Did the police miss it in their investigation? I'll take a look. Yeah, that is strange. I don't really see it. Like, we can check here and I don't really see anything. There's nothing there. There's nothing on the side. There's nothing on the front. So that's odd. Please revise your testimony with this new information. Well, that is interesting because there's nothing in there. Hold on, I'm just gonna give myself more drinks because goddamn I'm gonna need it. Yo, Maestro, welcome to the stream. Sorry, I'm just pouring up a drink here. Also, how is it going? It's going well. This is the first time I booted up this game. I've basically played all the games in this series except for this one. And I'm having a fun time, but my throat and my voice is kind of disagreeing with me. How are you doing? I hope you have a great Tuesday. There we go. I'm basically on the first trial. I've yet to finish it. I think I might finish it either next time or today. Depends on how long it's gonna take. Mr. Wright, if I may. Yeah? I've examined the bottle and I don't see any card in there. Huh, no. Well, Mr. Wright, surely isn't all you have to say for yourself. I can't say I know what's happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle, however. Huh? Perhaps a fifth person came and took it out. Oh, and a sixth person could have helped. Currently eating... Oh, nice. Sad about the throat, but how's the game going? You don't need to be sad about the throat. It is my own making. Because, as you hear, I'm doing the voices. It is nothing about being cold. It is nothing about my throat is being sore for some other reason. I'm just doing these voices, and my throat hates me for it. Also, I hope you have a good meal. But it's going good. I managed to fail twice before with like the little health bar, but it's going good now. Mr. Gavin, Mr. Wright is your client. Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I won't have you disbarring our investigation either. Look inside that bottle. There was nothing. So what's going on? Is Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? Or did the card just disappear? In any case, please continue the cross-examination. I'm afraid this decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence. Oh. Push him harder, Justice. Break. It's just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO. Why do I get the feeling we're not on our client's side anymore? I can understand that. I damaged my vocal cords many years ago. Oof. Sorry to hear that. It's not really fun. It's fun doing voices for this, but I can't tell you. Sometimes just like, oh my god. Okay, we're done that. Okay, let's press this. Where is the cord then, though? You made a call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Yeah, exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down in the hideout. Was anyone else on the first floor at that time? No, that's all. It was the middle of the night, after all. So there is the darkness, darkened restaurant. I called the cops. After making a call, I returned to the hideout. It didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone. And when you returned, the victim was already dead, yes. I'll admit, I was a little startled when he walked in. A little. He was bleeding from his forehead after all. I guess I'd be startled too if I walked onto a scene like that. Yeah, he was bleeding from the forehead, which is interesting. Because basically this is the image of how it looked. And this is the image when you have the hat off. So interesting enough, you could see the blood. Interesting. Could you explain why you called Mr. Gavin? I'd obviously gotten involved in a rather sticky affair. And I figured Christoph's law office would give me a friend rate for my defense fees. Glad to hear you intend to pay. Oh, I'll pay in full, Christoph. It was I who got you involved after all. You may find the price of your defense quite high, my good friend. Quite high. Jesus. I just saw the wall of text here. I mean, kind of the same for me. It was my own fault. I had already lost my voice and couldn't speak for a week. And then about a week or so after I finally healed, I had my voice back. My school had a concert and my badass sang... dumbass. I read it as badass, dumbass. Sang back in black with few friends. My vocal cords were permanently damaged after that. Ooh. Yeah, it can definitely happen. That's why I'm drinking a lot today, because basically making sure it doesn't get like too strained. Plus, it's basically only the judge's voice I have a problem with. The other ones is kind of easier on my throat. This is the truth that Mr. Wright was talking about. Justice. You know what you have to do. He's lying. Expose him now. Yes, sir. I have to think. What's Mr. Wright trying to tell me with his testimony? The truth was to be in there somewhere. Okay, yeah. Shadow Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. I discovered the trap. The girl was knocked out cold. Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call police. When I returned, he was dead. Blood was streaming from a cut from his forehead. Okay. Objection! This one, because it was actually talking about the blood from his forehead. Mr. Wright, if I may. Oh, yes. Take a look at the photograph of the crime scene. Look at this photograph. Sorry, I can't hinder myself sometimes. See the victim here. Oh, yeah, vocal cords are muscles, so they need to be warmed up and also need to be careful training to not strain them. Yeah, definitely. I guess, like, I have had half training by basically playing the first trilogy and then playing the Great Ace Attorney, but it has been a moment apart between those. So I guess it's like I am a bit untrained with that, but I'm gonna get into the point of this where it actually goes well. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead. Oh, good point. Good point? Like, oh shit. Justice. Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court? I forgot to mention something. I was the one who put that hat on his head. Huh? You put a hat on the dead man's head. We wore it through our entire poker game. After calling the police, when I returned to the scene, his head was still full view, shining bright just like this photograph. And I picked up his hat off the floor and put it on his head. Why would you do a thing like that? All I can say is I'm sorry. But that's the only thing I touched at the crime scene. So Miss Orley didn't see it. It being the victim's, his head. I didn't think so. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head. Ah, here we go again. Mr. Gavin. Pardon. It just seems that our client is determined to lie his way through this case. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Gavin, this witness testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Christoph. I never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone. I'm confused. Are you supposed to defend or accuse the dude in a beanie? The dude in a beanie is basically the main character from the first game, or the first series. So yes, we are. Second of all, right now he is accusing Gavin, our teacher beside us, from being the murderer. So he's kind of a bit right now. So we are, yes. That is basically why we are also in the stand, because our defendant asked us to do this. Because before he said, I want to testify, we said yes. Gavin, our teacher beside us, said no. But he doesn't have any power because he is not the defense. I am. So, I am, yes, but Gavin doesn't. Oh, don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here. Huh? When I noticed the trap, I put a card in a bottle to dispose of it. And when I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well. A reason? That reason is right here. Your cell phone. That night, recall that I spoke with defense attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case I recorded our conversation. What's this? Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Sounds like a freaking free-all. A bit, actually. And Miss Pine, the tutorial dude, which has basically a bald head, he is just a standby right now. He doesn't have a clue what the hell is going on. Christoph, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. That gentleman who challenged you. He turned out to be good. He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him hard. You mean someone cracked that flawless bone china plate? It wasn't you, was it? It wasn't you, was it? May please, the cops would be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that. So yeah, it's a bit of a free-for-all. Bone china plate. A kind of porcelain, very smooth and shiny, and not plate, but pate. I believe it was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead. The court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead. Wait a second, something's not right about that phone call. So after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club. Most certainly. Then how did he know? When did he see this bone china plate? Oh, that's right. Yes. That's what when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Yeah, so basically this dude is a bad dude right now. This is probably the first game where you have a tutorial and the dude beside you is actually the evil one. No trouble, I returned to the crime scene. And when I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court. Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So, this is your reason. The reason why you put the victim's hat back on. Your point, Mr. Gavin? It's come down to this, has it? Phoenix, right? Just any evidence not provided before court isn't allowed and needs to be dismissed. True. True in real life. Here it seems like as long as it is allowed from both parties and the judge, it's fine. But yes, even in the game sometimes it basically says, oh, I have evidence here. Oh, we cannot get that because it hasn't been determined to get in yet. But at the same time, we do have his phone as evidence. So technically, it isn't actually a evidence that was provided before court, but was provided inside of court. This was basically provided, well, probably before, like this was provided as normal evidence. Not like, oh, I have this in my pocket. Basically, this was asked for because this was the victim's head. Let me pull out evidence out from a magic hat. Yeah, not gonna fly. Yes, exactly. But that's the interesting part. We've had this phone for like a long time. It was a part of the evidence. Because he has been in the... more like a proof that he has been there. And that's the thing. If it is evidence, everything on it is also evidence. Which means even the phone call. Order. I will have order, Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear defense attorney Gavin's testimony? Well, as a prosecutor, very well. We'll break for 10 minutes, after which Mr. Gavin will take the stand for a cross-examination. Okay, so the phone was turned in, and then I don't know, kinda in a gray area, maybe? I would guess so. That's a bit difficult to say. Crystal clear, Your Honor. Very well. This will be the final recess for the day. I would say a bit of a grayscale, because yes, it is a part of what we have as evidence. Which means that everything on it should be evidence as well. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both at the judge's chamber. Who would have thought today would turn out like this? Oh, who's talking? Yo, Tracy! That was Tracy, right? Tracy Wright. Trucy or Tracy. God damn, I'm not good with names. What? Hello, sir. Please pick a card. What's this all about? Oh, also speaking about just pulling it out of my magic hat. Da 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 da. The little mage or wizard, I don't know. Exactly, but the recording itself wasn't documented as evidence, so hard to say. I'm not a lawyer, so no damn clue. That is true. Also, this is a game, so I'm pretty certain they do a little leeway. What is all this about? Is this one okay?
Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You need a trump card to make it. A trump card? The card you have chosen is magical. Use it wisely, and the game is yours. That's all. Okay. Yes, because that is basically the cheat card that everyone has been talking about. Actually, this was given to me afterwards, but technically we have been talking about this card. That is, it's disappeared somewhere. A lawyer and a magician would be perfect if her name was Kaito Kid. I think her name is Trucy Wright. And I'm a bit uncertain if that is actually, because she's not 7 years here. So I think she is actually like a stepdaughter. Do you know about Kaito Kid? No, I do not know about Kaito Kid. Actually, let me search that up so I can at least get a little image of it. What is... Oh, okay. I completely forgot about it. I know I watched like A Phantom Thief. Fair enough. I did not fully know about that. Have I seen him before? I don't know if I've seen this guy before. The only thing I've watched with Conan, Detective Conan, and that is basically the Netflix anime from the point of view of a bad guy. That's basically what I've only done. So I don't recognize this guy, but at the same time I recognize the way he is drawn. So that's why I said, oh, right. I feel like this is something I'm gonna have to like watch someday. The Smith's hand has 3 aces and Mr. Wright has 2. It's a 5 aces in all. It's true, I've seen it, the 5th ace. Here is also a bit of a grayscale. They're talking about a 5th ace that he did say disappeared. He put it in the bottle. But what's interesting is we have it now. It is not a part of the evidence, but it is basically something we have been talking about. The missing 5th ace. Wait. This blood, blotch of red. Is this blood? You have a trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate is in your hands. And you can do it. This bloodstained card is my trump card for finding the truth. I'm normal to see actually Trucy like that age. But we did actually was allowed to see Mr. Wright's pendant. And in there is like a little toddler Trucy, which was absolutely adorable, to be honest. I think the hat she had was like pink at that time. I feel a deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. It's good. The Kaito Kid also has its own anime where Conan gets featured. Kaito Kid is the one I recommend. Yeah. Also, it just reminds me, I also watched another spin-off thing of Conan, I think. The detective that like owns a cafe or something. Those are the only 2 I've been watching from like that universe, if we say so. That's when I made a connection. Yes! Mini Trucy. I don't remember what it was called. It was like Tea Time with Ace or Tea Time with something. I don't remember really. I think it also was on Netflix. The court will now reconvene. Defense attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. Well, the witness stated his name and occupation. Is this farce necessary, Your Honor? Oh, believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat? By secret, I'm guessing it means the fact that Mrs. Smith was bald.
forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seemed to have an inordinate interest in it. Oh, hello! I want to call it an inordinate, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Wright? What do you think you're doing, Mr. Wright? Well, things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never once took it off, except for that one time. That one time being the instant he was hit. Oh. And Mr. Wright, also, I do love he just popped out beside me. No one is questioning it. When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, the hat was laying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mrs. Smith's bald head, you would have had to been there in the hideout at the time of the crime. In other words, I must be the real killer. Is what you're trying to say. Not bad, Apollo. Mr. Gavin, I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court. What? Did you see what I mean? He's basically what is ever it's called, prosecution. He has just been standing there silently. I have no idea what the hell to do. Oh, I assure you, I had my noblest intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Yet, I'm afraid in the current situation, I see little reason to hide anything. Very well. Allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night. Oh, finally! You may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of the fateful night? The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked through the little window to the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead as he appeared in the photo. A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that was not the best place for me to be at the time, so I left. That's when the call came from Wright. It can't be, because you can't call from the basement. So, you witnessed the murder? For better or for worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed. Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team. Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client. What else can I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all. Oh, so you are, Mr. Gavin. So you just admitted in front of judge, jury, and all to have committed perjury, and no one takes an issue with this? What? Bit true, actually, yeah. So you are, Mr. Gavin. And you have to testify as you just did. You had to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright? You had to say that, because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo? Oh. Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Yeah, Mr. Justice, are you prepared? Yes, Your Honor. This is probably one of the most confusing intros of these games I have ever been with. Not even joking. I have said it, I've played every single game now except for this one. Even the spin-off with Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton. This trial's getting weirder and weirder. Yeah, no joke. And I love it, to be honest. Okay. Also, I'm giving myself away at the same time a leeway with making voices. I'm never repeating anything most of the times. So like, for example, the screen text has already said it, I'm not gonna do a voice for it. So it also gives my voice a chance to basically calm down for a moment. That man, you mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers, his aura, shall we say. He knew he was a serious poker player, but it was more than that.
So then, you knew the true nature of your client's job? Just what the fuck?
Of course, but I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Well, it makes sense I didn't know. They're friends after all. Worried for my friend, I returned to the club. You see, I fear this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score. I see. What happened then? Yeah, there is also a little window, so it's not lying about that. Oh, whoops, I did the wrong thing. I done goofed. The little window. You mean the one used to keep watch up the stairs? Yes, a relic of an ancient past. The black marketeers used it, I believe. Why did you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window? Wouldn't it just have been easier to just open the door and go into the room? I didn't want to upset Mr. Wright, you see. Upset Mr. Wright? Yes. What if my fears had been unfounded? I'd be walking into their match. Bad form, to say the least. Yeah, weird is an understatement. I have no clue what to call this. This ain't like nothing I've ever seen in real life ever. Same, I've actually been to one court thing with a school trip. It was a very small thing, but still, it was very like, alright. I'm pretty certain I actually slept through some of it. It was too boring for me. How do you know it was right after the murder? Really, no need to shout, Justice. Ugh. I was just getting to that part in my testimony. Here he is, the coolest offense in the West, we know and love. Even when you're standing up there on the witness stand, some things never change. I was afraid you'd change too, right? But you haven't. Beyond that overbearing personality of yours. I do wonder what actually happened 7 years ago. With friends like these, you need enemies. And the funny part is you're in between both of them. He's in the crossfire. By photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely. You see, he wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead. Oh, look at that, I rhymed as well. Can you describe the scene of the crime for us? Bald head, unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. Those were the only three at the scenes of the crime. Yes, as far as I saw, at least. Then we're back where we started. The killer was a defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why did you talk to the police? 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend. Objection! There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. Justice, I just said I saw no one, not a soul. But that goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah yes, this mysterious fourth person. Who would have conveniently been the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap cards in the victim's hand? Actually, I never really checked the card yet. Is there a reason? No clues here. A single drop of blood marks the front of the card. Yeah. This is the card, but I don't really know why it is a trump card. Perhaps you can show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary. How can I show something I can't find myself? Remember, Apollo, the card that I was swapped out was the 5th ace. Yeah, I know. Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap card has been raised. Can you point out the reason? Since now or never. The defendants would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out. Then go on ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the 5th ace? My reason is, this.
Is that an ace?
Why, it's got blood on it. Right next to the spade. Next to the spade. I don't know if there was someone else or if it was Gavin. But nonetheless, he rubs me the wrong way. I do not like his attitude to the matter. True. Especially when he's here now. Also, yeah, he's twitching.
This is insane! Why wasn't I told about this? Why?
Could this be... Yeah, ads, unfortunately. Ads happen. They're gonna drink a bit while I'm waiting for the ads to stop. Welcome back. My timer for ad breaks are apparently off time. It says it's still 36 seconds. Welcome back. I was just taking a drink while I was waiting. Could this be the missing 5th ace? Inconvincible. How could you? What are you doing with that card? Well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card. It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Boars Bold Club that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are stock and trade after all. Yes, because they cheated. I'm gonna try doing a roundabout here. So basically, the victim had asked the waitress or fake waitress to be the dealer because she was supposed to help him cheat by giving I think it was himself a 5th card. No, it was supposed to give right here a 5th card and give him a fake card hidden so they could basically tell him he's a cheater. But the problem was the 5th card was never found, and for some reason someone came in and swapped the 5th ace with a king, so both parties had a full house instead. The problem was that the swapped cards basically had 4 blue cards and 1 red, because the guy didn't really figure out when they switched cards that they had 2 different backsides. So that's why they say a 5th ace, because some people try to cheat here. Impossible. Unacceptable. The court can't accept this evidence. It's fraud. A fraud? I can see be so sure. Well, I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Bit true, actually. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason? The reason for the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime. Where are you going with this? Take another look at the photo and the victim's head. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell to the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from his forehead down the back of his head. Oh, the back of his head. He was turned away from the cards. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen on one of those cards? I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the blood. Regardless, that evidence is non-permissible. Oh, right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years you used to be a lawyer, you know what serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the finer points at our legal system later. What's important now is that we answered your question. What are you talking about? You wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene. And now I told you. That 1 drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see. This is baseless conjecture. Based. No, I assure you, it's quite based. He's based. We all heard it here. Phoenix Wright is based. What? It's amazing, really. A single drop of blood, a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. Okay, yeah. Ooh, 3D. Let's go. The murder took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table, and before the killer swapped out cards, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene. Well, what is it? Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on the card, what position would this diagram doesn't fit? The victim, the killers, the witness, or the second witness? Basically, this guy. The more nervous and panicked you act, the more evidence it is that you are about to royally fuck. Yes, exactly. That's what I love with this game, because sometimes they have like this transformation scene. For example, we had like the Great Ace Attorney, where basically just the swan started to like live on top of someone's hat. In this one, it was the waitress that basically just transformed into the dealer. Like, I just love how they changed mentally. But I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice. Well, look, the victim was struck on the forehead, sending him back in his chair. Do you think any blood would fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him? Take a look at the photo again. If he bled on this position, the blood would fall on the floor, not on the cards. Why, that's right. So, what does it mean? Incidentally, we're sitting in swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh man. Apollo, try turning the chair around. Wait, how do I point out? Ooh! But the chair was facing the other way. It would have been to be. The problem is there's no space there. How did he hit his head? So we have the victim's chair was facing away from the table. When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing? When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in this photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take this next step. Look at the diagram once more. We know now the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder, but this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? Whose location creates a contradiction if the victim was facing away? I don't really know. This guy's? I guess? Oh shit, I don't know really. Wait, hold on. Whose location on this diagram? Oh, someone came out from the closet. No, not that way, literally. Yeah, exactly. I just don't think it's a closet. I would basically also say it's a closet, but I have seen, like, if you see some of the images, it looks like a little... I don't know what it is. A porcelain closet. It basically has, like, windowed glass here. But to be honest, it does actually look like a closet, not gonna lie. Yes, cabinet, thank you. That's the name of it. Okay, so who's looking to create a contradiction if the victim was facing away? I would say this one because it would have been seen. But he came back after the murder. This one doesn't really matter. She was out cold. Oh, poop here. I would say this one. What doesn't make sense is a second witness. You mean to say I don't make sense? Well, I think the display cabinet would be more correct, but cabinet nonetheless, yes. What is it? Yeah, display cabinet, I would say, perhaps. I don't know. You mean to say I don't make sense? No, of course you do. Sir. As I thought. Yep, that was what I thought as well. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you one more time. Well, the scene of the crime, it basically contradicts with this guy. I would say this guy again, because basically it's turned around. Well, the contradiction position here is the victims. Again, how many contradictions can one man have? Thought you were certainly giving him a run for his money. And I fucked up again. Well, this also happens when you like stream of the 3 hours with this and trying to mentally figure out what the fuck is going on. Also doing voices. The worst part is trying to find voices for people. Do you know how hard I've had to find a voice for Phoenix Wright because he has a voice? And it's hella difficult to figure that out then. I will say this one then. The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Sitting where he is in the indicator currently is. I would think it might be quite hard, yes. Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game? I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light. What? There is something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look again on the diagram. Apollo, if the victim was struck while he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Yeah, that's something I did think of. No one could basically stand in front of him. Like, you cannot really get a good swing. But there's no room to put a mark where the killer should be. Oh, don't worry. Let's think it through and see where we find. We know the victim was facing towards the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Don't forget about everything else. Yeah, basically, that's kind of easy. We'd be standing here. The killer had to be standing, well, here. You get points for flair, but that's about all you get. Yeah, I thought I was on to something here too. Marley did to point out that standing there would be impossible. Okay, hold on. Let me just check something here. Yep, nothing there. The cabinet is still behind him. If there was a hole in the wall or something such, that would be beyond stupid to miss. Definitely. The problem is also they call it a hideout because there used to be a gangster that had its hideout there, which I guess they also had an escape route. So having a hole behind there wouldn't even be impossible at this point. What are you claiming? The killer climbed the cupboard and hit him from above? That's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that at the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know. At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. What's this now? I mean, that's the only explanation, right, Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange and examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately. Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard. Ah, Your Honor. What? Oh, there's one more thing you men should look for. Please give this to the bailiff. Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. I did my best. I don't know why I actually quit 7 years ago. But let's forge ahead here while we wait. Look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, and this cupboard wasn't here. Which means... Apollo, try to move in the cupboard. Yeah, moving the cupboard, you wouldn't be able to see in. Oh, thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it has to have been shown here. Now everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my! Probably because all of the BS and how many people who would have be behind bars gets to walk free. Probably. Absolutely. What's this? What? What is it now? Look at the diagram of this crime scene once more. Appears we found yet another contradiction. Well, I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Oh, dang. Oh, dang. Notice something, Apollo? A little line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. I love how I basically went from one mentor to another in the midst of a goddamn trial. Now then, Mr. Justice, please point out the new contradicting indicator. Is it the victim, the killer, or the witness? The second witness. Which indicator is this diagram contradicting? This is easy. About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window to the stairs. Oh! That's right, someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. What did you say? Oh, it's the coolest defense in the West. Losing is cool. Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And someone was, while the window to that room was blocked by cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court exactly where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor. Order. This is a court of law, and I will have order. We just now received word from our investigating team at the Boar's Bowl Club. Examine the cupboard in the hideout, Your Honor. Oh, what did it find? Well, Your Honor, it turns out there is a secret passage behind it. Yeah, unless they have X-ray vision. Yeah, exactly. I guess the only thing they did was basically just take photos and just left. What? Oh, yes, I believe I mentioned something about the source before. This is one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars knows about. I do remember him saying something about that, now that I mention it. The secret passage is a handy thing to have when you're engaged with illegal going-ons. Never know when you might need to duck away from your eye from the law. So the room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side connects to a restaurant above it. The underworld bosses would get away from the cops and enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. And everyone just standing here. You see where a line of simple deductive reasoning lies led us, Apollo. I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said that I needed this trump card for the last hand. Yeah, I'm pretty certain Phoenix had a deal with that as well. Mostly because it's his daughter. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked and the victim's hat was only of his head for a few minutes between Mrs. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin, come on, say something. He really don't want him to somehow get free from this because it is his mentor. Dare I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think I can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mrs. Smith. Wait, Destiny, hold on. Oh, a date with Mrs. Smith, a date with Destiny, Jesus. Why is it a hideout and not a hideout? I don't know. I think they explained something about that, but they call it a hideout. Probably because the last guy there called Hyde or something, I don't remember really. I think they tried to explain it, but I don't think I managed to comprehend it. There he crouched, hidden in the secret passage behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. The chance came, and he took it. Yeah, but why? Miss Olga Orley was out cold, struck by Mrs. Smith. Okay, I thought it might have been someone not know how to spell. I guess that it wasn't like that. It was for some reason, I just don't remember what. But this time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage into the hideout. And the victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair and got smacked. Sometimes this game have automatic, so I can't even read it. After the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. I think I might be able to change that. Hold on, let's do this. Just in case. It technically says for autoplay and story mode, but just in case it has to do with this as well. After the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him, he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor, and the fact that they were all red. Yeah, because basically when he switched cards, I'm gonna see if I can go into the court's record. He managed to fuck up something here. Because basically, they played with a red hand, and they just randomly took in a blue hand here. So this used to be the 5th card that we have in our inventory. But because he needed to basically get rid of it, he just took the random ass card and poof. An inconsistency. Has yet taken another turn. Well, it seems this trial has yet taken another turn. I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne! Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant is hereby cleared of all suspicion. Believe me when I said that I don't believe this happened, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid the circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately. I guess it's not over just yet. Oh no. No need to apologize. I'd rather enjoy it myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney dirty tactics firsthand. Question. How the fuck did Payne manage to become a lawyer? Well, he is the prosecution, so he's not a lawyer. I don't know, because he is always being the tutorial guy, always. I have no clue. Even like in the old age of Japan and all that, basically like, I don't know when really. His ancestor also had issues with this. Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would be taken in by such a low-grade parlor trick. Excuse me. The defendant is clearly cleared of all suspicion. This is hardly the time for a joke, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney. Illegal evidence? Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. I'm gonna have to take a drink here again. Is there still any reason at the present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking. How did you tend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? And not just any fingerprints. Am I right, Mr. Payne? Actually, yes. On the bottle were upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court, and in this case, demand an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down. And that is to hit someone with a bottle with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor. See how we caught the fish squirms to the last. Well, Apollo? Yes. The boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. I'm sure you can come up with some suitable explanation just like that. Yeah, just like what? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down other than to go... Other than to what? Fist it up someone's ass? What do you do with a bottle upside down? Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take another look at the court records. I believe you find a simple oh! Yeah, I know exactly. Okay, to put it simple. If you have a bottle and you pick it up upside down, why would you pick it up upside down? Most of the cases is when you actually pick it up. Like here. When he doesn't put his hand around the bottle, but basically just picks it up upside down. Fair enough. Mostly you hold a bottle upside down when you're hitting someone with one, or when someone gives you one. True that as well. That also when someone gives you one. That exactly. How about you just say the answer in plain words? Please. It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions indeed. Well, Mr. Justice. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done. Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle are upside down? It's actually easier to show you than to explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair. Excuse me, on the floor? Yes, now reach down and pick it up, without getting out of your chair. See, you naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck, with your fingers upside down. Look at this photograph, taken on the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottle of grape juice on the floor to the side of his piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times. Wow, I can't believe it was that simple. I called our dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual juice then too. Basically, he used the bottle on the table to do the deed. But then you must have remembered. So you went to pick up one of the bottles from under the piano. And you switched the bottles. You took one from Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like a murder weapon. Order, everyone. What do you have to say for these charges, Mr. Gavin? Fuck me, he's calm. Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactics of misdirection. What? You claim that I switched the bottles. Where is your proof? Proof? Well, that's a thought. More baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Joanna, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall a request an additional investigation? Oh, yes, I have you remember about that here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borch Club. And there, one of the bottles in questions, let me guess, it had a card in it, because it did say he put the card that he switched, or someone switched, in the bloody bottle. Which proves that that is basically the bottle that was used for the murder. What are you going to do? Going to dust that fingerprints too? I would be surprised if any were on that, but yes. They say, Apollo. Yes? Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? But why? Oh, just humor me. Mr. Wright, that bottle will solve this case once and for all. What? So basically, they gave me false evidence, and that's true. We're not allowed to use false evidence. But it wasn't even evidence. It was basically just to fuck with his mind, because there is actually the card. Oh no, wait, that actually might be the true card he took. I just realized this was the card he put in the bottle, and now I remember. He didn't swap the cards. This was basically the bottle he put the 5 on when they tried to trick him. That's what it was. But my brain kind of just started to shut off here a moment. There is something inside the bottle. So basically, when they try to make him look like a cheater, they put a 5 of hearts in his pocket. But he saw that and basically just put it in a bottle. But we didn't find it in the bottle. What's this? Oh, that card. It can't be. Recall an unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. Miss Olga Orley. Yes, our little swindling Devochka. That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hand just like I was supposed to. Then Smith searched him, but the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Wait, this isn't... You're telling me that this is the planted card you disposed of? The one you mentioned in the piece of testimony? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yes, I snuck a peek in it and found it was a 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. I will say that this Gavin is seemingly dumber and dumber by the second. If you use one bottle to whack someone and then take another bottle to hide your own fingerprints, then the new bottle would have no blood on it. Yeah, I said the same in the beginning as well. There was no blood on the bottle. So you would then need to whack the new bottle as well, and now you're back on square one. Yeah, exactly. I can absolutely agree there, because I didn't see any blood on the other bottle. To be honest, I don't even know if there's any blood on this bottle. It was just an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. The 5 of hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped. And the only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night. Oh, Olon is gonna change his personality. Oh, the Borch was still around. The hell? Is no one cleaning up the courtroom? Also, how the hell did he do that? Psychic bastard. That is all. Well, goddamn. Because anime. Yeah, exactly. But that's also what I love when they basically just have a breaking point or something happens. It's always fun to see what the hell is going on. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix, right? Revenge? Revenge for the event that took away your Athornis badge 7 years ago. My past is like my logic, straight and true. Nothing changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we could have this little ta-ta ta-ta-ta-ta. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. I don't know even how to pronounce that. This is insane. What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone? No, apparently not. He's just standing there this time. I believe this time we've finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report on Christoph's Gavin? He admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now. I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he? None that we know of. Mr. Wright, have you anything to add? Oh, I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter. What I'm a bit confused about, if you see the thing around his neck, it looks like the same thing this guy has around his neck. Because he lost it later on. And the problem there is basically that inside there is Trucy, basically the magician girl, which is not here. And he says it's his daughter, which, in the sense of the story, yes it is. Not biologically, but yes. So the question is, why or how did he have that one? About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. His occupation was listed as traveler. Another profession to be sure. That's all we know about him. I'll arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honor. Good. Mr. Wright. Yes? 7 years and you still haven't lost your touch? Christopher Gavin was a man with such significance for me, both as a friend and as a lawyer. He was extremely talented, to be sure. I needed two things before I could confront him. The first was place where no injustice would be tolerated, this courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo. Me? This is a dark time for a legal system. A twist of justice brought on by our very own initial trial system. You have to see it right. Mr. Wright. Our work lies ahead of us, and I for one am looking forward to it. Well, this seems to be like a good time to announce a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Woo! Not guilty. I'm still curious what happened 7 years ago, because I know he had this, like... He had this basically this outfit as a, like, extra outfit in one of the other games. And I'm also curious, like, why does he have that? Oh, thanks, Apollo. You came through just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you who cornered Mr. Gav, the killer. I couldn't have done it by myself. You sent it too today, didn't you? Your ability. Ability? Yes, a sensitivity I lack. I'll come to understand it soon enough. Yeah, apparently my ability, which I didn't know myself, is that I can spot differences in people's behavior. For example, the girl before was always scratching her neck like she had been hit in the back of the head. But she hadn't, at least doing it through her testimony. But apparently she had been. Well, from what Gavin said before, it seems like Gavin had something to do with Phoenix losing his Thorn license. Yeah, I just don't know the story yet. I've never played this game. So I kind of want to know now. Wait, I wonder if it means... I have one question for the witness then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. What? What was that, Mr. Wright? You'll have to find the answer to that question yourself. I love how he is just basically gathering every oddball attorney. And trust me, you will come to understand what I'm talking about when we play the second game of this trilogy. The answer, right. Today was full of questions without answers, most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have had to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Oh, that reminds me, I met the girl whose picture is in that locket. Your daughter, right? Well, that's right. She's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Huh? I took it off his neck. Denied he died. But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. Wait, but that's perjury. You testify you said that locket was yours. I said no such thing, actually. Huh? I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And it's the truth. Wait, but then why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside it? Sometimes the strangest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time. I'm still just getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I might be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices after all. I can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Don't talk about perjury now, voice that when Gavin was committed perjury in that case. What the fuck? Yeah, exactly. But it's as he said. He didn't do it. He just said, oh, it's a locker. I have the picture of my daughter in there. Apollo. Yes? How about coming to work for me? But you mean at the Wright & Co. law offices? I mean, there's not a single attorney in the generation that doesn't know it. Can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait. But didn't you... You're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney any longer. Well, I can still leave the goddamn place. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. And in the middle of it all was one man. Phoenix Wright. The case reached a sad conclusion and he left law for good. Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in court of law, I'm afraid. Yeah, I was about to say, you don't need to be an attorney to have an attorneys working for you. Yeah, exactly. You can always, like, you own the place and have attorneys work there. Not a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about evidence that shouldn't have been existed. And nothing magician's trick. One piece of evidence just struck me as odd, it's true. It just seems, well, too perfect. I bet this was all forged evidence. Oh, bloody hell, this is an extra thing. Kind of want to, like, save so I could do this again. What would be forged evidence? Forged evidence. Magician's trick, this thing? Yeah, just handle the business part and the authorities handle the court part, yeah. You mean this, don't you? I got this from your, daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that card shouldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left. Leaving the wrong card in his place, luckily for us. Yeah, so technically that card wasn't even evidence, it was just something to piss him off with. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. Then you really... Yeah, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. You're calling yourself an attorney, Apollo. So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters now, does it? I punched him. Yeah, it's sneaky but not illegal. If he reacts like that and says it's fake, then you should ask why are you so sure it's fake. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's your story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office's address. Drop in if you like. Mr. Wright. Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, take that next time. I find it in the packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved, and at the time I had no idea where they were all related. Every mystery that day connected by a single thread of logic. I find that out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins. And this is a good time to end because basically I've been playing for about like an hour later than I was supposed to. But this was just a tutorial part, so I wanted to continue. I've been doing this. When giving someone uppercuts, you should just yell, time for a facelift. Yeah, fair enough.